So welcome back to another deck breakdown. In this episode, we're going to create a legacy of legendary heroes with Sisay, Weatherlight Captain. So the main objective of the deck is to tutor into the majority of the legendary permanents, overwhelm your opponents through a layered offense and defense, go into the win con in the deck as a backup plan, or if you have it in hand, and keep our board safe with efficient legendary synergy. So the main strengths of the deck are that you have access to all 5 colors, meaning you have versatility when it comes to spell choices and aren't limited by color restrictions. You have the ability to ramp quickly in the early game, and it's very efficient, and most of the creatures are low cost. The commander's ability can tutor out anything you need, meaning the deck plays as a toolbox deck and can adapt based on the game state. Can be played as either a fortress or siege deck, or can combine elements to make it a balanced deck overall, and it plays really well with Two-Headed Giant. So some of the deck's main weaknesses are that the reliance on synergy is notable and can be exploited or used against you. It struggles in long games due to eventually running out of resources and needing time to build up. It only has one board wipe and is vulnerable against targeted removal and swarm strategies. It's very easy to get mana screwed and not have the right cards in hand for setup, and the legendary rule affects you most as you can't clone your creatures unless the effect specifically says except it's not legendary. So the color combination for this deck is all 5 colors, otherwise known as Wooburg. The main strengths of this color combination are that it has access to every color, meaning you don't struggle with finding color combinations since you're running every color in the deck. It's also highly versatile, and the color combination is the ultimate toolbox, meaning it can deal with any threat brought against it. And also, it's highly unpredictable, meaning the color combination itself is consistently inconsistent, meaning opponents can never get a true beat on the end goal and what cards are actually in the deck. So some of the main weaknesses for Gruberg include it's easy to be color screwed, meaning having the wrong lands on field at the moment when you need them most. It's slow to start because many of the best 5 color decks run lands that enter tapped. It takes time for the deck to get going and build up. It is susceptible to land hate effects, meaning anything that makes your non-basic lands useless or blows them up is going to slow you down. And it is the main target of removal. Depending on your commander and the list, you are often going to be perceived as the main threat and are going to draw the most removal to you. So the commander of choice for this deck is Sisay Weatherlight Captain from Modern Horizons. She has base stats of 2/2 and gets +1/+1 for each color among other legendary permanents on your field. And for rules clarification, this applies only to casting costs, and you can pay Wooburg to tutor out a legendary permanent onto the battlefield with mana costs less than her power. The main strength of the commander is that she is the ultimate toolbox commander, meaning you can throw almost any legendary permanent into the deck and she'll tutor it out, and she can synergize with it. She gets stronger based on the number of legendary permanents on your board to a maximum of 5 without artifacts, and she can be built in any number of ways, not just focused on legendaries, and she is one of the lower cost Wooburg commanders at 2 and white base cost. So the main weaknesses of the commander is that she has a capped stat increase, since she can only gain +5/+5 off her ability because there are only 5 colors, and her rule doesn't count ability costs. She can only tutor for legendary permanents, which makes her highly specialized and therefore subject to disruption. She will be the focus of removal most of the time unless there's a bigger threat on the board, and she needs more than one legendary on the field in order to be impressive, and she doesn't count legendary lands. Now, taking a look at the key creatures, we have Gland Dwarf Emissary, who gives you treasures for casting historic spells. And note, this is not limited to legendary spells, it can include artifacts and sagas. We have Captain Sisay, that lets you tutor out any legendary card to hand with no restrictions. Cameron the Return King gives you multiple options and abilities can be played at instant speed. And Pippin, Guard of the Citadel, gives the targeted creature protection from a specific card type. Some of the key spells include Coalition Victory, which acts as an out-of-the-blue win condition if you can meet its requirements. Spelunking allows us to play lands without them entering tapped and gives us draw and lets us play a land for free. Cruelty of Grix has Read Ahead, which lets you choose a chapter to start. The second chapter lets you tutor a card at the cost of 3 life, and the third chapter lets you recur any creature in a graveyard. and Hide in the Ceiling is an indirect protection against board wipes and spot removal. Looking at legendary lands, we have Rivendell, which lets you scry for 1 and 1 blue. The Mines of Moria lets you create 2 treasure tokens by paying 3 and 1 red and exiling 3 cards from your graveyard. And Shizo Death's Storehouse lets you pay 1 black to give a legendary creature fear until end of turn. But something to note is that most of these legendary lands enter tapped unless you control a legendary creature and require you to tap to get that ability. So the main win condition combo is a 4-step process. Step 1 is to enchant a land with Nylea's Presence. Second step is to have Tam on the field and Coalition Victory in hand. Step 3 is to play Determined to prevent Coalition from being countered. And note this depends on if the opponent have blue cards in their deck or if they have a way to prevent them from losing the game. And step 4 is to have Tam target a creature on your field with her ability and then play Coalition Victory. Taking a look at the Planeswalkers, we have Kaya the Inexorable, who provides indirect value layered on top of Recursion, and she has removal with her -3 ability, and her -7 ability lets you cast a legendary permanent from your hand, graveyard, or exile without paying the mana cost, which makes her essential to keep on the board in order to get this ability off. And then we have Vesner the Sojourner, who provides indirect protection, though you can only play this ability at sorcery speed. He gives creatures unblockable and provides removal with his ultimate. So let's talk about how to play the deck. Start the early game by getting all 5 colors of land onto the field to play into Spelunking if you have it in hand. Use the tutors to get the pieces for the win con or for something you need like protection, recursion, or a mana dork. Get Instrument of the Bards onto the field as soon as humanly possible before playing the commander. Play your commander, and if you have the mana for it, and if she's strong enough, use her ability to put the important combo pieces onto the field. Play opportunistically and keep your combo pieces safe until you have the means to play the win con combo. And if you can't play the win con or are unwilling to play it, use Kaya and Vesner to secure you the victory through unblockable damage. Some important things to consider for this kind of deck is having non-legendary mana dork is a good way to mitigate mana problems. Sisay can tutor for legendary lands as they have a CMC of 0. Having recursion and protection against exile is extremely important. Having a chromatic lantern or anything that makes your lands tap for any color is very good and helps you avoid being mana screwed. And make sure to have at least a couple removal spells in the deck to deal with troublesome cards. So let's go over some alternate commanders. Joda the Unifier provides a cascade effect when you cast a legendary spell and buffs your creatures massively depending on how many are on your field. Aragorn the Uniter gives you value for casting spells of color, especially if they're multicolored. And Havi the Allfather has indestructible as long as there are 4 or more historic cards in your graveyard. These include sagas, legendaries, and artifacts, and he gives you recursion when he or a legendary creature you control dies. Before we wrap up, let's go over some possible upgrades for this deck. First up, we have Abigail, Eloquent First Year, who can neutralize an annoying threat on the field. Be wary about what you give the creature, though. Arbez Mirror deals 1 damage to each opponent and gives you life whenever an historic permanent enters your battlefield. Arch Enemy's Charm can either be removal, recursion, or give a creature you control lifelink until end of turn. And Ring of 3 Wishes lets you tutor 3 times, and you don't have to worry about passing it to an opponent, unlike Wishclaw Talisman. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more videos like this one, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.